three men adopting a baby is unnatural, disordered, and unhealthy. That's the whole argument. That's it. That's the entire argument. This is out of Quebec, Canada. And you know, nothing good comes out of Quebec. No exception in this case. Listen.
For the last 7 years, Jonathan Bédard, Eric Leblanc, and Justin Maheu have been waiting to become parents together, something that officially happened yesterday.
She's perfect, of course. She's curious, she's energetic, she loves to play, she loves to jump, she loves to dance.
They adopted their 3-year-old through Quebec's Youth Protection Services, but first had to be approved as foster parents, something that required a lot of work and openness, they say, to their relationship.
We had a lot of things to go through in order to be able to have that accreditation. And it's through that process that they learned that we are a little different because we're 3, but we're not different from any other family.
Some other Canadian provinces, including Ontario and British Columbia, legally recognize more than 2 parents. Quebec does not. Last April, a Quebec Superior Court judge ruled the government has a year to modify the civil code to allow a child to have more than 2 recognized parents, saying the current situation is unconstitutional and violates the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms since it discriminates against different family models.
Yes, unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional to not allow 3 men to have a baby. So nature itself is unconstitutional, apparently. Nature already prohibits 3 men, 2 men, any number of men from having babies. Nature has already decreed that men cannot start families on their own. Neither can women. So I guess nature is infringing on the rights of the LGBT community. And this is the difference, by the way, between the traditional understanding of human rights, the American understanding, and the leftist version. Because the original idea was that human rights belong to us by our nature, endowed by God. And so when I say that nature has decreed it as so, this is what I mean. It's our human nature, endowed by God, created by God. But the leftist idea would say that our rights stand in opposition to nature. We get our rights not from nature, but against nature, to contravene nature. So it's the opposite. It's the opposite of what was intended. It's a subversion. So where does the right for 3 men to have a baby come from exactly? Where do you get this right? Now, the answer they'll give is they'll say, oh, the Constitution. But it's not in there, okay, first of all. Well, honestly, I don't know much about the Canadian Constitution. But that's irrelevant anyway, because what I know for sure is that if a change was made to the Constitution anywhere, including in Canada, to prohibit gay couples or gay thruples or gay quadruples from adopting, the left would say that gays are having their rights violated in that case. But if the right allegedly comes from the Constitution and then it's removed from the Constitution, well, they can't say their rights are being violated because it's not, because you said your rights from the Constitution. Well, it's not in the Constitution anymore. And so end of discussion. So as I've argued, that they are appealing to an authority above and beyond the Constitution. Whether they admit it or not, they are still appealing to an authority above and beyond that. What authority exactly? Well, that's the question they can't answer. They won't answer. And now we're left with this. We're left with 3 men adopting a baby. And this kind of abomination was totally foreseeable. It's the reason why gay adoption should never have been allowed at all in any configuration for any number of partners. And yet there are still conservatives who don't understand this. You know, September being National Preparedness Month got me thinking, when I'm out on the trails with my family, I'm always prepared, extra water, checking the weather, the whole deal. That mindset should carry over to home preparedness too. If a storm knocked out power for a week tomorrow, how ready would most families really be? The reality is, a lot of people have maybe 3 days of food that doesn't need refrigeration. That's not the kind of margin any of us want when it comes to our families. That's why My Patriot Supply is making it easy for you to be prepared with their Preparedness Month Mega Kit. They're basically giving away over $1,500 worth of emergency supplies, a full year of emergency food, water filtration system, solar backup generator, and more. Being prepared isn't just smart, it's what we owe our families. And when someone's making it this easy to get started, it feels like it's the right time to finally get serious about all this stuff. So if you go to mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh, you can get 90 preparedness essentials totaling over $1,500 absolutely free. Head to mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh for full details. That's mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh. You know, I was on Tucker's show a few months ago, and as you may remember, we talked about gay adoption. And I think we started this. I think Tucker, we started the show with it. He threw that at me right out of the gate. Which was great. And I said, of course, I'm against it. And I had people on the right attacking me for that, criticizing me for that. You know, well, here you go, guys. Congratulations. Like no, don't turn around now. Okay. If you were getting on my case, because I said we shouldn't have gay adoption, don't turn around now and say, well, this is too far. I don't agree with this. If you're in favor of gay adoption, you don't get to complain about this. You don't get to. Okay? I won't allow it. It is disallowed. It's prohibited. You support this. If you support gay adoption, you support this. That video we just saw, 3 men adopting a baby, you support it. You do. You may not know you support it because you're not smart enough to even understand your own positions, but you do support it. I'll tell you why you support it. Because there's not a single argument in favor of gay adoption that would not also be a defense of 3 men adopting a baby. And the other way is true too. There's not a single argument against 3 men adopting a baby that wouldn't also be an argument against 2 men adopting a baby. That's really the point here. So anyone who's tried to, and there are a lot of people on the left too, not on the left but even some certainly on the left, but some on the right, who try to draw this line. You know, they're all in favor of gay adoption. If somebody like me goes out and says, no, I don't think 2 men should be allowed. I think they should be legally barred from adopting a baby. If they hear that, they'll say, oh, that's bigoted. How dare, what is this? This is the year 2025. How could you say such a thing? And then they see this and they'll say, well, this is what's going on here. Well, go finish that thought. Go ahead. What's your problem? Why shouldn't 3 men adopt a baby? What's the issue exactly? Can you finish the thought? What is your argument against it? I really want to hear. What is your argument against 3 men adopting a baby? Or 4 men? Or 5? Okay, what if you had a whole squad of gay men going in there, 5 of them, to adopt a baby? Why shouldn't we allow that? And this is, now, for a lot of you listening, this is not a stumper at all. You can easily explain why. What I'm saying specifically is if you think gay adoption, 2 men adopting a baby is fine, but you don't like this, well then for you, I would like you to explain why the 3 men can't adopt one. What is the argument? Because the problem for you is that the only argument against it, the only one, is that 3 men adopting a baby is unnatural, disordered, and unhealthy. That's the whole argument. That's it. That's the entire argument. Babies are not meant to be raised and parented by 3 men. That is not meant to happen. That's not how these things are supposed to work. That's the entire argument. There is no other argument but that. But we don't, and it's a very good argument. It's the only argument. It's the only correct argument. It's the only argument you need. Well, the problem for you is that is also the argument against 2 men adopting a baby. Same applies. It's unnatural, clearly, therefore disordered, therefore unhealthy, and it's not meant to be. I'm not speculating. That's not my opinion that it's not meant to be. It's clearly not meant to be. In the entire history of the human race, going back into the past and stretching out into the unknown future, there has never been and will never be two men who naturally conceive a child. It's impossible. Babies are not meant to be raised by three men, and they're not meant to be raised by two men. So, that's why it doesn't make any sense to say, well, I'm okay with two men raising a child, but three men? That's out of bounds. Why is it out of bounds? Why is it somehow more absurd for three men to raise a baby than two men? Can you explain that? It's the same thing. And this is a lesson that everybody should understand by now. And I get it. I'm not, again, if you're on the left, I'm not even talking to you on this. If you're on the right and you don't get this by now, then I don't know. You're a hopeless case. You either draw the line at the one sensible, coherent place to draw it, or you have no line at all. That's it. And on all of these issues, there is only one. If you want to draw a line, there's only one sensible, discernible, objective place to draw it. And if you've decided to push the line back, to push the fence back, what you're going to find is that there's nowhere else. You've torn that fence up and there's nowhere else to put the posts back in and rebuild that fence. And that's where we are now. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.